We actually came up with 5 values of Superbank. Think bold, do the right thing, move with speed, make an impact, and win as one. In the unconventional finance or banking, there's one thing that is so different, which is innovation DNA. People are given chance to think that workplace is a playground.
In a world where banking isn't just about numbers, but about dreams, inclusion, and bold innovation, Melissa Hendrawati, the visionary CFO of Superbank, reveals how her innovation DNA reshaping Indonesia's financial landscape and why she leapt from conventional banking to the digital frontier. From serving the underbanked masses and tackling real pain points like access to financing, to betting big on AI and future-proofing a digital-first bank, her story is a masterclass in leadership and disruption. But it's not without challenges, imposter syndrome, talent revolutions, and the courage to dream bigger. Because this is not just a conversation, this is your masterclass to building unstoppable AI-powered businesses.
The power of the human capital or the people, the manpower, is actually much more enormous than any other capital, right? Because at the end of the day, the wheels is really the people. I mean, the leaders are there to facilitate the people, but the people need to be empowered themselves. We need to really unlearn and relearn as a leaders, especially with the digital fluency. Because our employees, our people are very native in terms of AI adoption, in terms of digital adoption. We as a leader, we have to be the catalyst, we have to be the accelerator and the strategies also in order for us to empower our people.
Welcome to Between the Lines, where Asia's most innovative leaders share practical insights on developing future technology-driven businesses. Over the last 12 months, my co-host Mohan Velu and we have had the incredible privilege of speaking with close to 200 leaders shaping the future of businesses across a number of cities in Asia. Through these conversations, we have got very good practical insights on how companies and individuals are paving the way to build businesses of tomorrow. It is in one of those conversations that we met up with the very charismatic Melissa Hendrawati. She is the CFO of Superbank. Superbank is paving the way to help shape financial inclusion in the 4th largest country in the world by population. And we are super thrilled to have you. So, Melissa, delighted. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. We're so happy to have you here.
Yeah. So Melissa, when you joined Superbank, did you think that, that something like this was possible? Did you imagine this kind of a success was, possible when they talked to you and when they convinced you to join Superbank?
Combination actually, right? By nature, I'm a dreamer. I always have a big dream, but to know that it can reach this state, of course, it's not me alone, right? But also, the team and the leader as well. So I don't think it's something that I would imagine before I joined. But again, knowing the team, the leader, and all the people inside, I'm very confident.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let's transition a little bit from Superbank to your personal career.
Sure.
When you came out of your A levels or graduation, did you say that I'm going to be the CFO of the largest ASEAN unicorn in digital banking?
What was your journey? It'll be great for people to understand what you've achieved.
I see. Okay, I used to be a quite forward-looking person since I was young, so I wanted to be in the industry that was growing very rapidly. So, but again, as a teenager, I wouldn't know which one, whether it's banking, whether it's engineering, whether it's any other industry. I wouldn't know. I just know that at that time, so I joined. I actually graduated from NTU, Nanyang Technological University in Singapore.
Yeah.
At that time, when I first started my university life, actually I joined. I enrolled in this actuarial science program.
Actuarial science.
Actuarial science.
Wow.
At the
So
time,
you're good at
it
math.
was okay. It was pretty okay, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of know that at the time I asked some of the professors, hey professors, which specialization or which major is the most difficult, right, at the time, and in terms of the number of students in that batch, which is the least, right? So I asked that questions. I was actually given that answer, actuarial science. I was like, what is it all about? Statistic. Okay, let's do it. It's about math, right? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm pretty okay with math, right? I enjoy it. So I did that.
Wow.
So it was
So your degree was in actuarial sciences.
Right. So it was a 3 years program.
Wow.
And when I was about to graduate, naturally I got some job offers from the insurance company in the actuarial department. And there were a number of job offers from banking as well. At that time, I was like, okay, banking. I remember there was one optional course that I took about derivatives. And at that time, I was like, I was quite intrigued. I was very kind of excited to actually, sit in that course at that time. So I was like thinking, is that it? Should I take a leap of faith instead of, taking the natural course, which is actual like the in the insurance industry? I actually took a leap of faith to join Citibank, right, with zero knowledge about banking, right, zero knowledge about finance. Turn out, I think that's the best decision in my life, and I enjoy it. And as you know, I mean, two of you are residing in Singapore, right? I mean, as you know, it's a very competitive industry.
Yeah.
So with some handicap, not knowing finance, I decided to actually continue my study, MBA in finance and strategy, to be on the same playing field with the rest. So I think, yeah.
So you took a break to go and do an MBA?
Right. So after Citibank, I actually took a break to do my MBA in finance and strategy, and I joined JP Morgan after that.
What were some of the key inflection points that shaped your career, to get you to where you are today?
Right. It was not so long ago, actually. It was when I actually joined this fintech. I realized that career is not just a job. It's about knowing what's your purpose and making the right impact, right? Because by having that kind of revelation, I feel that it's, our part that we play, right, at work, in the community, is beyond yourself, right? It's for people.
Yeah.
It's for the underserved community. It's for the my people in the company, so that we can unleash their hidden potential. By the time we think that it's just beyond myself, career is just so fruitful and colorful, of course, because lots of challenges as well.
So so you were in Singapore. So what brought you back
To Jakarta.
Back to Indonesia? What was the catalyst?
Right. So I actually enjoyed my career in Singapore. It's very progressive. But 2014, I realized that that's the time that I need to return back to contribute back to my country, and that was a pretty good time for Indonesia as well. So I mean, I realized if I didn't do that at the time, I would actually be overthinking all my life.
What if?
And what if, right? So unlike many other people who are saying, why should I return back, right? I mean, with that kind of career in Singapore, but I realized that this is something that I adopt in my my personal philosophy. If I want to do something, let's just do it. Because life is short, I don't want to live any regret in life. So that's why at that time there was this desire to return, to contribute back to Indonesia, 2014.
Excellent.
More than 10 years ago, I just realized that.
Yeah.
Time passes fast.
Time passes fast, yeah.
Why are you moved away from conventional banking to a digital or unconventional banking?
Right. So I guess I was curious. Simple. I was so curious to know what is the success factor or the secret recipe of those startup, of those fintech, or those digital banks, right? So I was so curious because I've been in banking the whole of my life. I saw the best practices in terms of risk management, how to do a prudent lending, compliance, etc. But what's in there? So coming with that kind of curiosity to actually explore what's on the other side of the coin, I decided to venture out of conventional banking. Right? A lot of people were like puzzled and
Yeah.
surprised, and what's wrong with you? But at that time, I was taking that with a leap of faith, knowing that I'll get something that I can bring back once I'm in the banking industry,
Yeah.
which is the innovation DNA.
So I think that's actually you, right? You are curious, and from what you've heard, what I've heard from the time you were in university,
Right.
to do actuarial sciences, to jump into all the different things that you've done throughout your career, it's all about curiosity, being curious and trying to find out about it. Do you think that's an accurate statement?
I want to learn.
Yes.
I want to learn. I want to make sure that I know what is the secret recipe, because at that time I saw lots of blue chip companies. They're so successful. So what differentiate a successful and sustainable companies versus just a mediocre one? What's differentiating like a normal, like just so leaders versus a very unstoppable leaders? So I'm like,
What is it?
what is it? What is it? So after I experienced both sides of the world, right, which is so different at that time, I realized that in the unconventional finance or banking, there's one thing that is so different, which is innovation DNA. People are given chance to think that workplace is a playground. People can experiment. The leader never punish if there's some failure, right, and empower people to actually think differently, because otherwise if we are doing the same exact thing, customer will be like, so what's the innovation, right? So I guess the innovation DNA and the digital leadership from the leadership angle is really differentiates those successful companies and successful leaders.
When I recollect, even when we met you the first time in the session that we had, you came across as a CFO who was really very focused on people and purpose. And I saw some of your quotes. You say super team instead of superstar.
Right.
Can you tell us a bit about this ideology of people-driven businesses?
Right. Of course, as I shared before, right, this journey wouldn't be like today without the people. So back in 2022, January 2022, I realized that we had no one, really no one. So we actually did spree hiring during pandemic. And at that time, you wouldn't believe me, like so many interviews in one day, just facing the screen, And at that time, I realized that, my interview questions have changed. Typically, my interview questions is to actually screen for the best people. Then I realized, well, this is building something from ground up. So there should be some shift in terms of the way we actually screen people, instead of just because otherwise we're just hiring the best, the top notch, and it's the same, right? But at that time, I realized that, hey, I guess there's one thing that we need to really find out from the candidates, which is adversity quotient, AQ.
Grit.
The grit,
Yes.
right? Grit is a combination of perseverance and determination. So at that time, there's some candidates who actually received this question from me. Given one piece of paper, what would you do on your first day, on your first week? Because it's really one empty paper, right? That we need to, because we need to build a company. It's really nothing. There's no SOP. There's no procedure. There's no system. We need to build it from the ground up. There's no product at that time. So at that time, I realized that, hey, I need to change the way I screen people. Instead of just measuring the past experience or the competency, we need to measure the resilience, or I would call it the adversity quotient. Because if their answer is really like, hey, I used to be a very, if the candidates say, we used to be successful in the past role, maybe they're not the suitable candidates. Because we need to unlearn and we need to relearn, by actually adapting really to the current environment and building something from the ground up. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, Melissa, tell us a bit about Superbank.
Sure.
What are you trying to do, and
Sure.
how is it, different? Because you have worked in traditional banks
Right.
as well.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Superbank is, we are actually a bank focusing on digital services, right? So having this digital banking operation, we want to make sure that we actually cater to serve the underserved and underbanked in Indonesia. As you know, I think there are a lot of research paper. You are the expert in research as well, right? Indonesia, more than 70% of the people, the population, is actually belong to underbanked and underserved, right? So I guess our mission is really to make sure that when we come to Indonesia 4 years ago, right, we want to make sure that we are not just building another bank. We are actually serving this underbanked and underserved by knowing their pain points. So after really researching a lot, understanding the market, the pain points that is so apparent, that is so obvious in Indonesia is access to financing, right? So if you see, Indonesia, like, I think more than 60% of the GDP actually belong to MSME. We want to make sure that, we come to the market, not just building another bank, but really like serving this underserved and underbanked with the access to financing, right? So, we are actually a bank backed by a very reputable shareholder. We are very blessed to have Grab, MTech, Singtel, KakaoBank, and the latest is GXS, right? They actually came to the table to support us, to back us up, right, with different expertise, right? So again, I think the mission is really to make sure that we actually serve those, underserved market in Indonesia, and I think that's the mission of everyone in Superbank. And of course, with the recent IPO, hopefully we can have more, fuel to actually reach those people.
So Indonesia is of course a very big country, multiple geographies, huge archipelago, multiple islands. So is Superbank just focus on a specific part of Indonesia or everywhere?
No, we are actually everywhere.
Oh,
like
wow.
we are actually very grateful since the moment we actually launched June last year, right? We are 1 year old digital bank actually.
Amazing.
Since our public launch. We know that we want to make sure that we integrate very deeply with Grab, which is our shareholder, and OVO as well, right? OVO is part of Grab. So by integrating very deeply with the Grab ecosystem, right, we are able to reach, each cities in Indonesia, each island in Indonesia, to make sure that the financial inclusion, which is our mission, can be achieved effectively.
Wow.
In your prospectus, you also talked about putting almost 30% of your CapEx towards AI and cybersecurity.
Sure.
Right? Can you tell us, you made such a bold move towards that investment. Can you tell us a little bit behind the thinking of that?
You must be reading a lot
We did our
about the
research.
plan, right? Which is spot on, right? So I guess, we are very, very serious. We are very focused on making sure that we future-proof our business, right? As I say, we want to make sure that we are not just building another bank, another conventional bank. We want to make sure that, we are actually at the forefront of the digital adoption, forefront in terms of being a digital-first and AI-first company, right? So of course, as you guys are really, observing a lot in the market, right? AI seems like a buzzword, digital seems like a buzzword. Digital transformation, people say it every day, right? Even when I, read, everything is all about the digital and AI. But again, I feel that being in digital banking business, we have to be really serious in terms of the adoption, in terms of the implementation. It's not just a lip service, but we really live it and breathe it every day, right? That's why it's very important to build the right foundation, the right infrastructure, and also the right people. Because I think we'll come to that, right? I think people is, to me, is very important. I think AI, at the end of the day, for me, is not just a tech revolution, it's a talent revolution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, so as a CFO, when you look at the P&L now in Superbank, how differently do you view it as compared to, let's say, a CFO of a traditional bank? Are there things that you see differently? Because maybe a different perspective is needed as you are building a AI native. Are there AI metrics in your P&L that you're looking at?
Okay, maybe before AI, of course, there are some AI and digital metrics, perspective, right? The mindset in the P&L. But maybe let me just ask you, right? Knowing different companies, P&L, you've been leading very notable companies in the past, right? Do you know there's one line in the balance sheet that's never been in the balance sheet? There's one item. Until today, it's never been there.
It's still not there.
Still not there.
What is it?
Any guess?
What line item is not in the balance sheet?
It's in the equity, actually. Should be in the equity.
It should be people's people.
Exactly. It should be human capital. Should be human capital. You know, I realized this after my encounter in Superbank, and also like prior to that, I was in fintech. I realized that unlike a very established companies, right, a venture, a startup, right, you know, the power of the human capital or the people, the manpower, is actually much more enormous than any other capital, right? Because at the end of the day, the wheels is really the people. I mean, the leaders are there to facilitate the people, but the people need to be empowered themselves in order for the business, for the ideation, for the AI adoption. I mean,
Execution.
for the execution, the strategy, and implementation, for all those to be really, as per the expectation or beyond expectation. I guess that line is missing.
Yeah. So what are the problems that you're solving as Superbank? Maybe it'll be good to elaborate and give us some insight into what are, let's say, some of the biggest problems that Superbank is solving for Indonesia.
Right. As I mentioned earlier, is the access to financing. Let me just give you one example. Like, since we are very integrated with our shareholder, Grab, and, we actually, we try to understand what is really like the pain points or the driving force of those people. So Grab by itself, there are different verticals, there are different segments, right? So we have driver, we have merchant, we have passenger. Each one of the segment actually, faces mostly similar pain points, which is access to financing. Give you one example. The martabak seller, very yummy. You have to try, right, in Indonesia. So martabak seller, for example, in Grab, they have been like selling, with good sales, for example, but just one shop. Imagine, right? If they want to expand the business, they need to actually invest in better ingredient, more people, right?
More locations.
Or the location, exactly. Or even like the variety of the product, etc., or the marketing as well, right? So I think there's one thing that we always notice that for growing business, they require capital. They require capital for them to actually grow the business. So, but then, in a conventional banking, I can say that because I used to be working in a conventional banking for most of my career. Typically the way bank actually provide the capital is by means of the credit assessment. Does the company has a financial statement? Any CFO, is the CFO good? How's the P&L, the balance sheet stacking up? Any collateral? But those kind of merchant, this example of martabak seller,
Yeah.
they don't have any collateral, they don't have any CFO, they don't have any, financial statement. So the way that it's, we are trying to help them is that, hey, they're actually selling on a Grab platform.
Right.
Grab has, we have all the data about this seller,
Their sales.
right? The sales, the transaction, the score, the rating of this seller, the merchant, etc. So, by knowing, this unconventional data, alternative data, transactional data, about this customer, we are able to underwrite better. So that's the hope that, with the better scoring, better data, right, we should be able to give them more access to financing. That's just one example.
So are you using, so sorry to interrupt, are you using AI to do this? To do the assessment of, their credit risks? Based on all the information that you have.
Yep.
Okay.
So we do have a data, of course, the data team, right, who is they're the expert in making sure that, the underwriting is based on the right scoring, right? And the very fact that AI actually help us is that, the reiteration of the scoring can be much more massive.
Absolutely.
Right? In a conventional bank, it takes some time to actually reiterate the scoring. With the, the right adoption of AI and machine learning, we should be able to do it with more agility, with the hope that, by knowing the customer better, we should be able to give access to financing even to a wider population in Asia, hence solving the access to financing problem. Yeah.
Are there some specific financial metrics that you are using? For example, your cost of customer acquisition could be lower. Your, I don't know if your non-performing assets will be higher. So can you give us some insight into the financial metrics that are very critical for a digital bank and how potentially it could be different from a traditional bank?
Right. At the end of the day, it's about data, right? By having wide variety of data, I think it will enable us to do the business better. So that's why I think there are a lot of metrics. I don't want to bore you with 100 of metrics, but I guess most important for us is the engagement, level of engagement, because I think we understand that there is this evolution, in terms of the customer expectation, right? So these days, I think customer wants to be really understood by the financial institution. Hence, the way we actually measure whether we are doing great or not, right, is really the level of engagement, customer engagement. How many transactions they're doing with us, right? Is it like, coming up? Is it like coming down, or is it stable? Is there any, what's the number of transactions per day? I think we are so blessed that recently we have been able to achieve like more than 1 million transactions per day, right? Because we want to make sure that it's stable, right? And it's been, progressing very well. So I guess, we want to make sure that when we come to the market, the customer is sticky with us, they are engaged. Hence, that kind of metrics, I think, is much more important than any other metrics.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting that you're saying this, because you came from a traditional bank.
Yeah.
So the way they viewed business is probably a little bit different, right? So you're probably a lot more engaged, because you have to come up with different ways of viewing the business and how to invest in it, and how to say, hey, no, this is wrong, this is right. You need to be a little bit more of as you say, a dreamer. You need to try things and
exactly.
do a fast fail.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Fast fail, I like that principle. Yeah. I do have a slightly tweaked principle about failing. Right? Fast fail is great. But
is that type
yes,
of
exactly,
thinking?
exactly.
Okay, great.
Which suits my personal philosophy as well. I think failing forward is the way to go.
Okay.
Right? I think in this era of full digital, I think we have very fast-paced environment. We have to be able to leave some brain space to do experiment. Experimentation is always good. Instead of just saying, what happened in the past must happen in the future. No, I think that's not happening anymore in this current digital era. So I guess having a mindset that when we fail, at least we fail now, and we have to fail forward. Meaning that there's life is just like a zigzag, right? Same thing as digital adoption. So by the time we are actually coming down, at least there'll be a time that we learn from experience and coming back up again, just like really a zigzag, but it's really upward trending. So I guess with that kind of philosophy, as a leader, I feel that there's always a need to provide a psychological safety.
Safety, okay.
Right? Psychological safety is, I think that's the nuance of the leadership these days. I would actually say that's part of the digital leadership realm, that I guess people might overlook the very fact that leader should actually embrace experimentation. But before people experiment and be able to understand that it's okay to fail, but fail fast, fail forward, right? Leaders have to provide that cushion, that psychological safety.
Right.
So people, feel that, hey, my boss will support me no matter what. Of course, with calculated risk, everything has to be within the guardrails. But, having known that the leaders will actually support, understand, right? And giving that kind of space to actually experiment, that's very important. And I think that's the pillar of the foundation of the...
From the roundtables we did, Mohan and Melissa, we made this AI-enabled playbook, architecting the AI-enabled enterprise.
Right.
And we distilled down to 10 clear pillars of action that organizations need to do. And as we discussed with you, you said, hey, for me, the AI-augmented workforce is my favorite area, my area of passion. Right? So very keen to hear about your views on that AI-augmented workforce. You said, I'm building teams, I'm bringing in people. What are some of the things that you are doing to help build that AI-augmented workforce?
Right. First, of course, we have to adopt it ourselves, because otherwise it's just not walking the talk, right? First is coming from myself as a leader. And second is really to make sure that their mindset is right, right? Once they have the right mindset, that AI is helping us, right? So if we can actually outsource our routine tasks to AI, right? And we can do a more value-adding stuff, that will be beneficial for my people, for the company, and also for their personal development. Let me just give you one example, right? It's not easy, to be very honest. It's, for tech and product, maybe it's easy because it's something that is really part of their daily life, right? But for other than tech or product, sometimes they need to just try it on, right? So the way we do it in my directorate is that, I just make sure that we provide the right tools, right? So if they want to subscribe to anything, we can just provide the sponsorship, because that's an investment by itself, right? Or they can just reimburse whatever cost that they actually bear, with regards to that. And I actually empower them to just try. And we do have a change, the champion, the AI champion as well. And I was so happy that some of them actually came with the real use case. Some of the example is, we actually, the team actually coded the whatever it is themselves, right? Themselves, right? I was like thinking, since when you know coding? So they just try it on, because I think now with AI it's much more easier, right, to do that. So we actually, they actually came up with this chatbot. So there's one team that actually, my procurement team actually received lots of questions from everyone across the bank, right, about different things, how to do this process, that process, right? So instead of them replying to email one by one, they actually created this chatbot, right? And they actually provide some libraries so that some of it is automated, some also requires reiteration at the back end. And then that's one success story. So I asked them to actually share that success story. And I guess some of the other team actually were pretty motivated to produce it themselves as well. My treasury team, they actually create this research bot. Typically, like, in treasury, in order for them to do some trading, right, do some deals, they have to actually research themselves, right, from Bloomberg, from any other resources, right? But instead of doing that manually, now everything is automated, and we do have a news feed, whatever market feed every day for us to actually brainstorm, for the deal, for the upcoming deals. So I guess, that's another, to me, is a big wins, because that actually provides, some proof, some evidence that, hey, people without tech background also can do it, right? So now we're actually baking lots of other stuff internally. But outside my directorate, also we are actually, as we know, like fraud detection, the credit scoring, for the customer experience, the customer chatbot as well. Those are actually using AI. And the good thing is that we actually sponsor all the product team, all the tech team with the right tools. So some of them really are trial and errors, right? It's not all tools are actually useful at some point.
Correct. And also,
But-
I think the accuracy
Right,
sometimes
right.
is...
But we want to make sure that they have the right tools from day one, regardless of whether they will use it or not. I
Right.
mean, if they don't use it, of course, we can always reconsider. But we want to make sure that, it's there for them to use and experiment.
What do you think is that leadership DNA that will be required to build those iconic bank of tomorrow?
Alignment of goal is very important. So I'm so blessed that, we actually, after we launched in June last year, we actually turned profitability actually in less than 1 year.
Wow.
After our public launch. I think one of the key is really to make sure that people know this is the next target, this is the next milestone, or the North Star that we are actually striving for together as a team. So once people know, they feel that whatever that they are doing, we are actually contributing to that North Star. So we have to keep refreshing our North Star. Once we actually hit a certain milestone, it has to be like the next North Star, but people have to understand, and we have to simplify it so that people actually help us, like we win as one together. And very important also to understand, to let them know that the values of the company is actually driven by them. So there's a funny story is that we actually, as a new bank at that time, right? All the leaders actually sat in one room, and we came up with our values, right? But after a few months, we actually scrapped that altogether because we felt that values need to start from our people, by our people, from our people, and they have to inspire themselves to create that for the company. That's why, after we scrapped that and we asked everyone to contribute, we actually came up with 5 values of Superbank. Think bold, do the right thing, move with speed, make an impact, and win as one. And, our employees were so inspired by the values that they created for themselves. And I think the difference between values or culture that's created by the leaders versus if they know they're actually contributing to that, so much difference, right? The difference is just massive. And every time they do, they actually remember the values itself. So I guess that's the power of that.
What is it to be, in this AI world? There's lots. It's moving at such breakneck speed. There is
Right.
innovation continuously every day. What is it about a leader and leader in this AI era?
Right. So I guess, as I said, I think digital leadership is very important. In fact, I created this personal quote for you guys, right? For me, this is the definition of digital leadership. Digital leadership is about sharing our deep conviction each and every day to our people to inspire others to dream big, make an impact, and unite to win as one. One super team, right? Because at the end of the day, I feel that, in the AI world, people actually create different use cases, as I think you shared before the session, right? There are new use cases that's so beneficial. It's actually driven, actually taught by the people. So if they're not inspired themselves, if they think that AI is just, it's just about cutting costs, or it's just about for the benefit of the company or is about replacing human, right? I think they will not be empowered. So I guess the empowerment itself, the understanding that AI is there to help us. So the union or the marriage between AI and us as human is very important. And of course, right, I think we actually outshines AI people because, there's some negotiation that humans need to do. Reading the room, right? Making sure that the ethical, the governance is always there. Making sure that we understand customer expectation. That is by human. But we use AI to enable all this to come together, as a real solution to the company.
So you've talked quite a lot and eloquently about AI use at Superbank and all the benefits. So what about the challenges? Have you had any challenges with the adoption of AI?
Right. So I guess the challenge, which I don't think is only in Superbank, it's when I talk to different leaders, CEO, CTO, or even CFO, I think the challenge is, is pretty similar to digital transformation back in the 2000s, right? Whereby people think that AI is about technology or the tools, right? So they actually subscribe to all the most sophisticated technology. But again, the people think that is it good for us? What's the value? What's the impact for us? So I guess knowing that people know the impact or the value that AI can bring together with all the human empathy and all the human values, right? I think it's very important. So I guess lots of people back then, maybe including myself, right, somehow actually, forgot that at the end of the day, it's about the right empowerment for people to adopt AI, with the right level of human skill.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think a lot of folks still think it's a technology,
Right.
but it's actually more entire enterprise transformation
Right.
that you would need to do to make sure you gain the benefits of AI,
That's true.
as you mentioned.
That's true.
You have some incredible partners. It's a dream lineup if you were to create, between Grab and Singtel and Kakao Bank and Amtech. What does this? Is it difficult to manage this set of partners? And what is the uniqueness that each partner has brought to the table, which has helped you and which is helping you build something remarkable?
Right. Thanks for the question. I'm so blessed to know that I have a flywheel of these notable shareholders behind me, right? That's why when we actually decided to do this latest journey of listing, I think we are very supported by them, and the very fact that I think they come together as as our shareholders, they actually bring different strengths, right? Different strengths. Like Grab, as you know, is really a top-notch technology leader, right? They're so good at innovation. They're very fast in terms of innovating different line of products, right? Of course, Singtel is the telco leaders, right? Amtech, as you know, is really is very forefront in terms of media, and they have diverse line of businesses as well. Kakao Bank also has contributed a lot of ideas in terms of product development.
Yeah.
Right. So if you actually try on our apps, I think it's really helped by them as well, because I think they're the leaders in terms of product design in South Korea. Right. They're very engaging, and we just we just launched this product. It's called Kartu Untung. It's a lucky card.
Okay.
Right. Lucky card means that every day when you actually log into our apps, you can actually scratch that card and see what you get. It's it's some price, right?
Some price.
Yeah, so I think
Daily.
it's a gamified kind of engagement. Daily, yes, daily. Gamified engagement to actually improve the customer experience. And of course, GXS is the latest addition to our shareholder line as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I guess everyone bring different strength and contribution to the table.
Is it difficult? Is there a particular, managing such a complex set of shareholders, each with sometimes very strong views? Is there a particular mechanism you're using to manage them, to maintain, because they all may have sometimes differing interests and priorities? Is there any insight into how to manage a complex set of partners?
Actually, the answer is simple, right? It's trust, right? I think by the time, we actually establish a very good line of communication, hence, the trust is established. And I think the way forward is just quite straightforward, right? And of course, since we are now a listed company, I think the challenge is how to actually make sure that we are at the forefront in terms of communicating the plan and making sure that the level of transparency is there. So I guess, that's very exciting to know.
Excellent. Let's do some rapid fire, Melissa. Yeah?
Sure.
Some rapid fire questions, maybe
Okay.
6 or 7 of them, and get some quick insights from you. And so traditional bank or tech startup, which culture is harder to manage?
Well, each has its own strength and weaknesses, right? I guess it has to be combined. The traditional bank actually, provides the best practices, right? While the startup actually provides the innovation DNA. So answer is both to your question, right? I'm very greedy. It's both. So the successful and sustainable company should be able to blend the two, right? The best practice of the established company and the innovation DNA, of startup, very, very equally.
A financial metric that every digital bank leader should care about, but doesn't.
I mentioned before, the level of the human capital, motivation, and also the customer engagement. Yeah.
A chartered financial analyst or AI certification, what is more valuable for a finance student in 2026?
You know what? I got both, actually. I got both. So both are equally important. But again, it has to be depending on the stage of career, depending on the objective as well. But I guess the digital fluency is something that every professionals, leaders, or just someone starting out career to adopt that. And that's very important for the success in career, I guess.
So your go-to Grab food order when you're working late with your team?
Super difficult. Coffee.
Okay, excellent.
Right, to stay awake at night, right? And I guess that's something that the caffeine level, it's important for us to strive.
Your biggest myth about being a woman in Indonesian finance?
Finance is a male-dominated industry, right? I guess I actually did this out of curiosity again, right? I asked ChatGPT back then, tell me 10 most prominent tech leaders. 10. Only one who is a woman, Sheryl Sandberg. The rest, the 9 out of 10, are actually men. So I guess it's a very male-dominated industry per se till today. But I'm so blessed in Superbank, 60% of BOD, more than 50% of our leaders are female.
Wow.
And hence, I think there's a diverse point of view. There's a diverse, constructive feedback that help us along the way. And because of this, I actually, we actually co-founded Indonesia Women in Finance Club during pandemic again, to make sure that we actually solve this underrepresentation of women in the finance industry. And I guess, we are holding the next annual conference, with a very interesting topic, and also to help empower women, be it in finance or beyond, to be able to chase their big dream.
Excellent.
Cashless Indonesia, reality by 2030 or a pipe dream?
I guess maybe 50-50, right? At the end of the day, we need to look into the outer areas in Indonesia as well. So I guess, I think in Jakarta, in the tier 1, tier 2, definitely, tell you what, I never bring my wallet every day. Every day.
Excellent, yeah.
Yeah, because everything is at your fingertip, using all the QR code, etc. But again, I guess there's a financial inclusion also in the payment that we need to solve together. That's why, digital banks are there to solve that, to help solve the, connectivity of all this so that people can be cashless in no time.
Superbank in 2030, and if possible in one word.
Unstoppable.
Excellent.
Excellent. So we go to the last segment.
Sure.
So, as we look into the future, would you like Superbank to be known as a bank that uses technology, or is it a technology company that has a banking license? What is more profitable to shareholders?
I guess we are a bank after all, and a bank is a trust business, right?
Yeah.
And but we are actually tech first and AI first bank that actually gather trust from the customers.
Okay, let me. So, as a co-founder for the Indonesian Women in Finance Club, what is your advice to young women, the next generation of female leaders who want to lead like you do at the intersection of finance and technology?
Right. I guess growth mindset. Simple, right? We have to always have the hunger to learn new things, and we have to understand that the only constant these days is change. So don't worry. Let's hire the brightest talents, and as a leader, we have to keep developing ourselves, and we have to empower people also, not only empowering ourselves, to be able to be daring enough to have a big dream. Because I think women this is very personal to me, because I think there's this thing called imposter syndrome for women. That fun fact is that when someone is looking at the job vacancy, typically men 60% tick apply for the job. Women need to be close to 100%, then they'll apply for the job. So I guess the confidence, the imposter syndrome, am I good enough? Am I qualified for that? I guess, it's something that it can be actually built along the way. And by having the right dream, the right aspiration, having the right mindset, growth mindset, I guess that's the way every woman has to build their career. So at the end of the day, those women can empower other women as well, and creating the right spiral effect.
I love that you said about that 60% and 100%, because this was something that at F5 we actually went ahead and changed our job descriptions.
Right.
Because we knew women would look at every single requirement. So we actually removed that, and we made it a little bit more, not a hard requirement. We made it a little because everyone will look at job descriptions when they apply for jobs. So we actually changed the job descriptions, so which enable more women, and we saw the increase in women applying.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Wow. Thanks for doing that for women.
Thanks. Yeah.
You have been an incredibly successful woman, highly looked up by many young women in this country. So as you went through various stages in your career, and any advice for women or young women who are getting into career and going to navigate the next 2 or 3 decades of their career through, managing families at the same time performing in such highly demanding jobs? Are there some particular key moments that you wish to give advice on how to manage it more effectively?
Can I actually address this with my, again, personal statement about leadership? So that some young women actually can use this to empower themselves. Leadership is not the absence of fear, but the courage to act despite it. It's about having the vision for the future, big dream, and humility to grow along the way from every mistake along the way. Ultimately, true leadership is driven by purpose that extends beyond ourselves.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Melissa, that was absolutely fantastic. It was such a pleasure. We really learned a lot. I think you are truly building something remarkable along with your team at Superbank, a super team. We wish you great success. Thank you for taking the time out during such a holiday season to come and share with us. And if there is anything we can do to support you in your mission and passion, we would be super.
And thank you very much. It was very, you are very charismatic. And it was very interesting for me. And I learned a lot from talking to you.
Thank you for having me, and also learned a lot from these two gentlemen today. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.